Hey everybody, Luther here from Luther's Woodworking. Today we are back in the shop and we're going to be doing a project from Alex Fox. You can get a lot of his patterns off his Etsy store on Etsy.com. I'll put a link below to his store. But what we're going to be doing today is one of his dino skulls, Tyrannosaurus Rex skull. Let me just move my camera here and I'll show you what we'll be working on today. Now he does have videos out that shows how to do these skulls. I think a lot of his projects he has videos out to do this. And what we're going to be working on is this actual skull right here. This is the T-Rex skull that he has on his website on Etsy. This particular one I made out of hardboard. It's some people call it masonite, but it's all glued together. Now on his website on Etsy, when you download his patterns, I think all of them are digitally. You can download them digitally, so you can get them right away. And you'll have to print out several pages for the pattern, but it'll have a link right here that you can click on, the PDF, and you can actually watch a video of him making the project. But I'm going to do this project just a little bit different than what he did the video. There's nothing wrong with the way he did it. I just want to do it a little different. It comes out the same, and I'll explain a little bit. Now, like I said, this is made out of that masonite or hardboard. This is the first one I did. I'm going to be making this one today out of Baltic birch 1/8" plywood. Here I got all my pattern. What I did was print it out. When you go to his website, you can print out all these the pattern for all the different bones. And what I did was I cut all the pattern apart, individual pieces of bones and stuff, and I laid them out on a piece of 1/8" plywood so I could fit them as close as possible together, so I could use as little as wood as possible to make this skull. So what I did was took two pieces. I actually buy my 1/8" Baltic birch in 5-foot by 5-foot sheets, and I cut this and I ripped off 11 inches of the sheet, and then I just cut it. You can see here I cut this piece in 2.5 feet, and then I glued. There's two pieces taped together here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's two pieces of 1/8" right here, and I got them taped together. So I'm going to stack cut these pieces, because on this plan that he's got for this dinosaur head, you're going to print out one pattern, but on each page it says 2 sheets. You're going to need, on this plan here, it's got parts 1 through 19. You're going to need 2 of each of these, because on the skull itself, and let me just show you here on the back page of the plan, you'll see on the skull itself it's 1 through 19. From the half, the middle of the skull, to all the way to the outer edge, 1 through 19, and then you got the other side 1 through 19. Like right here. If you go to the back, right from the middle, this side right here, 1 through 19, and you got 19 all the way to 1, all the way to this side. So you need 2 pieces of each of these bones for this project. So what I did is doubled my 1/8" plywood, and I'm going to stack cut these, so I'll have 2. It'll save a little bit of time of cutting. You could cut these out individually if you want, but I'm going to stack cut. I normally don't stack cut anything when I scroll saw, but I will stack cut 2 1/8" pieces, but I usually don't stack cut anything thicker than 1/8". So what we're going to do is I'm going to head over to the scroll saw, and we're going to cut this apart to some smaller pieces, a couple smaller pieces, so it's more manageable on the scroll saw. And also on this here pattern, there are several interior cuts. I got my interior cuts to do right here. I got the holes drilled, and there's probably about 10 interior cuts on some of the bones have interior cuts. So we're going to cut them first, and you can see I got my blue tape on my wood and the pattern on here. I don't have clear tape on the top. I just glued it on with some real strong glue. So we're going to head over to the scroll saw, and we're going to do this pattern a little different. Now, another thing I want to mention, on this pattern, let me just show you here on a piece. You're going to see on his pattern, he's got little square holes that get cut on each bone. Now that is the way he does it, and what that is for, and I'll show you. He's got a little part here where he shows, right here. You got these little pieces, the little square pieces that you cut on each of the bones. And the way he does it is he cuts a piece of wood and he slides all these pieces on. And that'll all line up, and then he just, when he gets to the end, he'll put this last piece on to cover the piece that he put in there. Well, the way I do it is I do not cut any of these square holes on the bones. I just cut the bone out, and that's all I cut. I decided not to use the square piece that he uses. Not to say it's a bad idea. That's the way I'm going to do it. I didn't want to use a square piece. So we're just going to cut all the bone out individually and stack them and glue them, because I wanted to glue on this here. I wanted to glue this completely together solid. There's glue on every piece. This is a complete solid piece of wood when you're done. So that's how I'm going to do it, and it turned out pretty nice. So we're going to head over to the saw and get this here cut into some smaller pieces and start cutting out these pieces of bones. All right, guys, here at the scroll saw. Now what I did was, on that big piece of wood, I had all my patterns. I ended up cutting the board all into little pieces like this, so I could more manageable on the scroll saw. So I got all my pieces here. Now, like I said in the beginning of the, let me just move my camera here. In the beginning of the video, I am not going to be cutting these little square rectangle holes on each bone. We're not going to be using that part for this skull. I'm just going to be cutting the bones out. So, and then some of these parts have interior cuts, some don't. So we'll do that as we go. And also, I am using a number 5 Pegasus scroll saw blade, reverse tooth. That'll work real good for these parts. So we'll start cutting these parts out. Hopefully this doesn't take too long to cut out. They're fairly easy to cut out. Try to keep my fingers out of the way so maybe you can see what I'm doing. like I said, I am stack cutting these pieces, so I will end up with 2 pieces on each bone because you need 2. And another thing I didn't mention in the beginning, that each one of these parts have a number on. This is number 8. It'll be number 1 through 19 because there's 19 parts on each half of the skull. So that'll help us when we go to start putting these things together, using the numbers as a reference. So we'll just continue on cutting here. And we got 2 number 3s. And we got 2 number 7s. Two number 4s. 2 number 11s. We got 2 number 6s. And we got interior cuts on this one, so I always like to do my interior cuts first. Gives me more to hang on to. So we're just going to do that. Okay, so we got 2 number 5s. Got two number 10s. And we got two number 1s. And always do your interior cuts first. Here's two number 9s. There's two number 2s. Okay, I gotta drill that hole a little bit bigger. I'll be right back. You want to make sure that your pilot holes are big enough to where your screw saw blade will go through. And here are 217s. And there are two 16s. Let me move this camera just a little bit here. This is two 19s. Here's two 18s. Here's two 12s. Okay, we got two 15s. And we are on the last two pieces here. And I just noticed that we need to cut some interior cuts. You want to do them first. Okay, I think that's it for the interior cuts. I'll go back. Okay. We have two 13s. And the last one we are done cutting out all these parts. We got 214s right here. Let me just take this blade out of here because I believe my blade is dull. And let me just show you. We have all the parts here. I can't really put them all on the table here, but we have all the parts for this dinosaur head. It's 1 through 19, but you need 2 of each. So there's actually 38 parts to this. So you get the idea. We have a lot of parts here. What I'm going to do off camera is we're going to take all this tape off these pieces. We're going to sand them all up really nice, get them ready to put together. I'm going to do that off camera, and then we'll be back to start the assembly. And as you noticed, I'm going to say it again, I did not cut that little square hole out here to run that board through. I just cut the actual bone out. We're not going to use that piece of wood that's in the video he shows sliding all the pieces on. I'm not going to use that. So we're going to take all the tape off, sand it, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, we got everything all sanded here. Everything looks pretty nice. And what I said in my past videos, I like to use a piece of wood with some 220 sandpaper on it. Makes it a lot easier to sand your small parts like this here, and then you just kind of flip them and go like this here. Instead of trying to take this small part on a belt sander. So just a piece of, it's just a piece of plywood with some sandpaper on it. It's 220. So we sanded all the parts. We took all the tape off too. Now one thing I want to say, all these parts are numbered. If you remember me saying that, they're all numbered 1 through 19. But once you take your pattern and your tape off, you don't have the numbering on it anymore. So what I like to do is, you can see here, I got a pattern, all the papers laid out here with all the parts on it according to the number. So that way I don't get mixed up. And I do that with a lot of projects I work on. If I have a lot of parts, I'll lay the parts right on the pattern. See, you can see right here, this is number 5 right here. So I got 2 of these, and I just lay that on the pattern. I got them all laid out here, so I know what I'm grabbing. Because when you put this together, like I said, you got to start with 19 and go to part number 1 from the center to the outside. And then also, remember I mentioned I'm not using that stick that he slid all the parts on, because I did not cut all them square holes that were shown in the pattern. I didn't cut all them square holes. These holes right here on the pattern, I did not cut all these square holes. We're just going to lay these on top of each other and glue them. So I think that works nice that way. So what I like to do when I start gluing these together, I like to grab all the parts 19 through 1, just 1 of each. So we'll take 19 and lay it here, and then we'll take 18 and lay it here, and then we'll take 17, and then we'll take 16, 1 of 16, and then we'll take 15, and then 14, and then we'll take 13, we'll find 13, where is that, right here, 13, then we'll take 12, and 11, let's see, where is 11, right here, 11, and we'll take 10, just grab all your parts, one of each. 10, we'll take 9. Number 8. Where's number 8? Number 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And number 1. Right up here, number 1. All right, so let me see. Go like this. Now it's just laid here like this. Now, I do that because what I want to do is take these parts. You can kind of see how it's put together right here, but it's nothing's glued. I take these and what I'll do is I take these and I'll set these upside down right here. Let me see. I'll just tip them upside down right here. Okay, so now I know this is part number 19 all the way to 1. So now I'm going to grab part number 19, lay it right here. Now we know we need part number 18. And we're just going to dry fit it on there. And what's important when you put these together is you want this edge of the skull, the rounded edge right here, you want that pretty much as straight as possible. Right in here, you want it level. I mean, obviously it's not. It's just all rigid. You know, it's off a little bit, but that's okay. But you want to kind of keep these straight because that's going to give you your layered look as it goes down. So we're just going to take this 18, lay it on this 19, and just kind of see how it sits there. Because that's going to tell me where to put my glue. Pretty much all of it's covering 19. So I'm going to put glue. I always put glue on the piece that I'm going to lay it on. The piece that I'm going to lay on. I always put glue on here. So we're just going to go, and I usually just take a little bit of glue like this here on a board, put my finger, and I'll just tap some glue on it like this here. I'll just keep on going around with my finger like this here. Get some glue on it. Some may squeeze out. We'll clean that up later. You don't need a whole lot of glue. But we just kind of just get some glue on there. All right, so we got glue all on that piece. We're just going to take that piece and lay it on here, on number 19. And like I said, what you want is you want these edges as level as possible. Just kind of set it on there. Now you can pick it up. And this is the edge that I'm talking about right here. You want this to go straight up as you're building. Mainly right in here and here. These areas right here is where you want it to go straight up. Out here and out here, it's going to change a little bit as you build. So here we have this glued together. A little bit of squeeze out glue. You can clean that up. And then if you look on the back side, there might be some glue that squeezes out. You can clean that up. And that's what I use. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's some glue right here that I didn't need to put glue on. So I'm just going to take that and get that off of there a little bit. And what works nice too, and I use it, you take a Q-tip, take a glass of water, get the Q-tip wet, and you can clean up glue that squeezes out with that water, because the water will dilute that glue, and that'll clean that up, and you'll be able to clean up any glue that maybe you got glue on a part that really didn't need to be on. So now we flip it back over, double check this side right here, kind of make sure it's pretty straight, and that would be your first. Now you can see, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but you can see these two teeth are not lined up. That's the way they're supposed to be. Don't try to line, these are all going to lay on here different. So these two teeth are not lined up, and neither are the bottom ones. I don't know if you can see it or not, but neither are the bottom ones. They're not lined up. So now you got 19, you got 18 on here. So now, we'll just grab from your pile. This would be 17. Now 17 will fit right on here, like this. And here's that rounded edge again. That's going to fit up against here. But you're going to notice on this one, you lay it on there dry first. You're going to notice on this one, you can see they're coming down a little bit. They're not exactly lined up here, which is fine. See that? They're not exactly lined up. And the teeth are not exactly lined up. See, there's teeth right here, 1, 2, 3. They're a little off. But your main thing you want to worry about is this rounded area right here. Keep that straight up and down. So what we'll do, that dry fit it first, kind of see how it looks. Pick it up. Take a little glue. Tap some glue around on here. You don't need a whole bunch, because once this is glued together, this will be one solid piece of wood. Just tap some glue around there. You don't need a whole bunch. Okay, once you got your glue on there, we're going to lay this back on there. And when you lay it on, you want to make sure that you have that edge lined up. You want to be going up straight. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to, you want it the best you can. And if you look at this one is, they're not totally even, but it's pretty well straight up and down here. If you can see, it's pretty well straight down. But they're not even though. But it changes as you go up. You can see on this one here, you can see it comes up right here, and then on the back of the head, you can see right here that these stick out. So they're not going to go on there all the same. So once you got that on there, you're going to take a look at it, kind of make sure all these are where they're supposed to be. Any glue that squeezes out, you can wipe off. And then tip it back over. Now, you can see I got some glue in there where I don't need glue. Right down inside here, I got some glue. I don't need it. So I'm just going to take a Q-tip and try to clean some of that glue off of there. And then if you take a Q-tip and wet it in some water, you'll be able to dilute that glue, and that won't leave a residue on it. You just want to keep on checking all these areas where the glue is going to squeeze out, because you don't want the glue to squeeze out and you end up with a big glob of glue someplace. So you just want to tip it upside down every once in a while and look for glue. And like I say, you can wipe that glue off with a Q-tip and some water. I know it's hard to see what I'm doing here, but it's just a Q-tip and some water. And you can kind of wipe that glue off. And that water will dilute that glue, and it won't leave a funny looking residue on it. So now turn it back over again, and you can see I got these lined up right here, pretty much. But you can see how it's starting to layer on the top right here. And the teeth are a little offset. So you can see that happening. So what we're going to do, I'm not going to film gluing this whole thing together. Let me do a couple more of these, get it a little further into it, and then I'll come back and show you how it's starting to look. But basically, just grab your pieces and lay them on there and glue. Takes a little bit of time, but it'll turn out really nice. So let me get some more layered on here, and we'll come back and I'll show you how far I got. Okay, so we have 10 pieces on here so far. You can see how it's starting to layer. You can see how it's starting to layer right here. You can see the pieces. That's what you want. There's, like I said, there's 10 on. I got 9 more to go. The most important thing is to keep it level here. Right in this area right here is to keep it this level. And what I do a lot of times, I just have this little square right here, and I will just hold a square like this here as I put my piece on, and just kind of keep it level straight up with that there. Just like on this one here, just kind of keep it straight up on that bend. So we'll put one more on here, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish this side. And as you go, it'll get easier and easier, because now we're done with all the teeth. The parts are going to get smaller, and it's going to get a little easier to line up and assemble. So we'll just stick some glue here. All right, so we got the glue on there. We'll stick this piece on here. Just lay it on there. I kind of just line it up right here. And there we go. Now, and then I always flip it over to make sure I don't have glue where it's not supposed to be. I kind of wipe it off a little bit with these Q-tips. Should be good there. Flip it back around. Make sure everything is exactly where you want it. And that's what's nice too. Like I said in the beginning, I don't use that piece of wood where he slides all the pieces on. I don't cut them holes. And I do that because I can lay these pieces on here and glue them and move them around and adjust them just the way I want them. It just gives me a lot easier to move the parts where I want them. I'm not limited to what that piece of wood will let me move. So we got that piece on there. I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to finish this half. I got 8 more pieces to put on here. And we'll come back and talk about how I'm going to finish the other half. Okay, so we have all 19 pieces on this half. This is half the skull. This is number 19 right here, all the way to number 1. You can see the layers. That's how it's supposed to look. And it's all basically nice and level right in this area right here. So that's half. Now, I suppose someone might say, why don't you just build another half and then just glue the halves together? I really don't want to do it that way. I want to build off of this one. So what I did was I picked up my other 19 pieces right here. These are not glued together. I just picked them up. I'm going to tip them upside down like I did before. Right over here. Now I know the top one is 19. And we're going to start again on this other half of the skull. And we're going to put these on this half of the skull. And we'll take 19 right here. The two 19s are going to fit together. And they should fit perfect because the two 19s are exactly the same size. So they will fit right on there. And then I'll continue doing the other half of the skull. Now, the reason I do that is because I think I can just, after I glue 1 or 2 pieces on, I can look at it and see if there's any adjustment that I need to do. I don't want to make one half and then make the other half and then put the two halves together and not have it look quite right. So this way I can do one piece at a time and just continue on with the other half. So you already seen how I did this half. I don't think I need to videotape doing the other half. So I'm going to do the other half of this, glue it on here. We're going to finish this up. I think what I'm going to do is use some boiled linseed oil on this here one. That should bring the grain of this wood out really nice. And then we'll be back to show you exactly what this looks like all completed. So I'll get working on this other side. We'll get this other half done. And then we'll be back. All right, guys, we are back. We got 2 more pieces to put on. Like I say, I build these off the existing half that I already did the first time. I don't build 2 halves and then glue them together. So that's how I do it. Just put these last 2 pieces on, and then what we'll do is end up letting this dry for a while, and then we will put some boiled linseed oil on it. So that's what I did. I just took the existing half that I had and just added to it. Making sure that you keep this edge nice and straight right in here. Everything should line up. Everything should line up nice and straight. And then we'll just glue it on. good if you do that because it's all layered right here, all the way up, and that's the way it's supposed to look. Once this dries really nice, you're going to end up with a nice skeleton right here. So we'll let this dry. I'll come back after I got the finish on it, and we'll show you how it is, how it looks done. So we'll let this dry, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, we are done with this project. Turned out really nice. I got the boiled linseed oil on it. Brings out the grain of the wood really nice. You can go to Alex Fox on Etsy. He's got a store there which has got a lot of patterns there, and he has a lot of videos that show how he does his projects. One thing with this project here, I did not use, like I said, I did not use that piece of wood that he slid through there to slide the pieces on. I did it a little different. This is one solid piece of wood now. Everything's all glued together. Turned out really nice, I think. So if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell because I do have more videos coming out. So I think this turned out really nice. It's a fun project to do, and it's really pretty easy to do once you do a couple of these. I did this one right here, and I also did one I showed you earlier in the video made out of masonite. So there's different ways you can do these skulls, different colors. I plan on doing a lot more of these, different variations of color and stuff. So give it a try. Go to his store on Etsy and download the pattern. One thing I want to mention is take your time in putting it together as far as gluing it. Like I said in the video, you want to make sure this back edge right here is all lined up straight because that's going to give you your different layers all the way up. Really nice. These parts are kind of flimsy once you cut them out of 1/8" wood, so make sure that you're careful with some of these parts so that you don't break them. Taking the tape off or handling them until they're glued together. Once they're glued together, this is a solid piece of block of wood now. So turned out really nice. So check them out, and we'll see you on my next video.